big silky bitch. Digging real delicious, getting filthy rich. Never been a joker, hater, punk or simp. Get your blunts up high while I talk my shit.
You hear the harmonies? Yeah, I said, new faces saying no. Circle small, trying to make it die. Cloud chasing won't make you high. Whole time fame, get your shot. Cold blocks in the same heart. They don't show you where the pain start. Y'all gon' be straight with this gay art. I'ma help you put the cape on. Hey, yeah, I'ma help you put the cape on for me. Yeah, I said, shorty, please don't take your legs from out the air. I love telling goofies, no, you better not touch my hair. Nothing can compare to these lessons that I'm learning. I'm so zombie. Know you obsessing, but please stalk me on the come. Ayy, saute, flambe, yeah. I blaze the trail, yeah. I came to kill tracks. Y'all came to hell, man. Why come to fail? Broke ass bums is frail. Eat your fucking kale. Well,
blessings become lessons, I invested in myself. Feel like everybody watching me, but never trying to help. Been a gutter kid since birth, splurging on shit that fuck the wealth. Till I hit 25, realized I might be here to help. Shape some babies, put my cape on, half crazy, half innovating. Per patient, per fuck you pay me, they sleeping, I've been amazing. I trade in places I'm saving. Have cribs built for my baby, heart been cold since I moved north, but my bitch cozy and I'm vacant. Roll a blunt, I'm tryna smoke, but you get spacey. Love how everyone been on my dick. Everybody hate me, all this music I've been making. Breaking hearts, it's worth the wait. And now I'm face deep in some pussy, and they still intimidated.
Ma'am.
Breaking news, y'all. You can be addicted to anything. It's not just a drug thing. You can be addicted to shoes, food, weed, any motherfucking thing. Okay? Addiction is real. Stop fucking around.
You're too loud. You're too loud.
Mm-hmm. Clearly.
This just in. Break it. No. Okay. The Department of Agriculture says that clout and crypto clout will, hold on. It will not be accepted in heaven. And also, wait, hold on. Oh, your clout score is dropping. And hold on. It won't buy food. Blessings.
Oh. Are you gonna sing?
What we not gonna do? What we not gonna do?
Ooh.
Harmonize with you.
Yeah, that's definitely what we not gonna do.
Meaning you and me.
What we're not going to do this week, what we are not going to do is compete. Okay? One thing I'm learning as I move through this journey, this healing journey I'm on, is you're exactly where you need to be. It's a yogi principle that I picked up this week in school, and what that means is like you are exactly where you need to be. You're doing the work you need to do right now. And sometimes we have like the idea that we have to be somewhere else based on what other people are doing, what other people's journeys look like, what other people's successes and failures look like. And that has nothing to do with us. What somebody else does has nothing to do with me. And so what we not gonna do is compare and compete with other people. We're going to focus on ourselves, and we're gonna do the work that serves us, okay?
I was just gonna say too, cause that's how that, that spicy tweet that somebody said, how you gonna compete where you don't compare?
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily spicy, like, nigga, you not me.
And that a lot of people forget that,
Yeah,
like,
you.
and I feel like it's easy to look at other people's journeys and compare. It's easy to look at like the happy things people post, but we forget like you don't see what they're going through. You don't see what people are handling, what people are working through within themselves. So who are you to say that their journey is any easier than yours? You don't know what people are dealing with. You don't know what you're dealing with. So sit down, analyze what you're doing, listen to your gut, and stop worrying about what the next man is doing. Because that's going to get you fucked up out here. That's a mindset that you don't want to be in. So work to unlearn that shit, because someone taught you to forget who you are. And you want to remember who the fuck you are, because that's more important than what the next man is doing. So what we not going to do is compete. Period.
What we not gonna do is compete with your poo.
Okay. No.
It's a very silky show. Well, we got through another week.
Yeah. Praise God. Go crazy.
Praise clout God in heaven. And you know what this week is? Valentine's, Frederick Douglass, all that. Still BHM. And please don't call it BHM. Don't call me a woman of color, and don't call it Black History Month BHM. What the fuck is wrong with y'all?
Oh my God.
But for Valentine's Day, we wanted to give people some tips. People be like, oh, Psalm and Angel relationship goals. No. I don't love this nigga more than I love me.
Period.
But she loves me.
Yeah.
But not more than she
Yeah,
loves
but not
her.
more than myself.
And our big silky tip of the week is what?
Love yourself more than you love that nigga.
Don't
Love
take-
yourself more than you love that toxic bitch. Love yourself more than you love the motherfucker who doesn't call you back or text you back for 4 or 5 days at a time.
Nigga, I promise you, the more you love yourself, the more you'll see how motherfuckers don't love you right.
Yes. No, that's real.
That's
like,
real shit.
the more you love yourself, the more energy you put in yourself, the more steadfast you are in your boundaries.
Standards.
Yeah. When your standards grow, when you up your standards for yourself, you're going to notice like who wants to love you and how they want to love you, and who is not willing to love you the way you deserve to be loved or the way you need to be loved. You know, like that's real.
Yeah.
That's real.
And you know what was crazy? Because everybody's talking about love on the timeline because of that fucking movie, Malcolm and Marie.
Malcolm and Marie, toxic.
Horror movie.
I wanted her to leave at the end, and
She didn't.
She didn't.
Spoiler alert, her ass was outside in the backyard
And
just
you know-
waiting for this nigga to
Yeah.
walk up to her so they could just start over again. Spare me.
and you know what? Like, no relationship is perfect. That's real as fuck. Like,
Hell yeah,
everybody
I've
has.
been in that relationship before.
Nigga, we were in that relationship before.
Well, there was like 2 Malcolms, 1 Marie.
But
Fuck you.
But my point is, like, we all have struggles, right, in our relationships. There's always an argument that can be had. There's always a time when you are yelling. Like, it happens. It happens. But be considerate, yo. Like, be considerate to yourself.
You just trying to say the meanest thing because your ass mad?
Because you're hurt. So you just gonna pull out the arsenal of hurt nigga shit and say what you... No.
Sad nigga energy is
That's
not the
not-
energy.
no,
Because
that's
we're
not
all
healthy.
sad. It's a fucking pandemic. Who ain't sad? So, I mean, the big silky tip of the week is love on yourself so good that your standards become like, if a nigga ain't loving you correctly, you can fucking notice it and you can cut that shit off.
Yes.
Now, that's not saying like that shit's easy. But it is saying that once you start really loving on yourself, your standards change.
Yes.
And you just start, it's easier to cut a nigga off.
And I also want to say, like, you don't have to leave if you don't want to, right? Like, that's
you can stay and make shit work.
Exactly. You can stay and you can find healthier ways to communicate. You can stay and you can learn to appreciate each other's love languages and each other's boundaries.
Absolutely.
And you can adjust to that and be respectful of that. But what you can't do, I mean, what I can't do, because I don't know what y'all can't do, but what I can't do is let a nigga use me as a doormat and then just fucking stick around like it's all cool. Because it's not.
Nah.
It's not. My
And
boundaries are for me.
And if a motherfucker is loving on themselves right, they ain't gonna treat you any kind of way.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? If a motherfucker is doing all kind of shit that's bad for themselves, we know what it is.
Yes.
You can tell. Like,
You
we're
are
getting
a
older,
reflection of your environment.
Exactly.
Yep.
So if you looking around and ain't nobody loving on themselves properly, how the fuck you think they gonna treat you?
Exactly.
This Valentine's Day, love yourself.
Love your fucking self.
And don't text that nigga.
What do you need?
Your soul.
I'm ready when you are.
Andrew Barber.
Hello.
How are you?
Hologram Kizzy. Are we still using that one, or is that one over with?
Absolutely. And that's exactly why I wanted you on the show, because you are a scholar, a student of hip hop. You would know that.
I mean, you know, I try to keep up. I can't keep up with everything, but I try.
I mean, where can I begin? Well, first, I'm just going to ask you for shit. I'm going to be a rapper and then I'm going to turn into an interviewer. So the Valet feature, I need that.
You know what? If you could find Valet, you could get a feature from him.
Probably find Valet at the designer dog park.
If you could find Valet would be, I can get some days, some weeks I'll talk to him every day. And then some weeks, I mean, I can't find him for 2 weeks. You just don't know. He's a mystery. He's a mystery man.
An artiste.
I'll definitely ask him if you got something. Feel free to send it over.
Maybe one day. That was actually just a fake. That was
an icebreaker.
Yeah,
fake icebreaker.
Like asking for shit. That's what rappers do, you know?
Hey, no, it's all good. It's all good.
That and then the Grammy. I need that. So.
You know, if I could give you that, I would love to give you a Grammy, but you know, I can't even vote for the Grammys. Despite having been
years ago, I was on the board and I asked you a question. You were like, "No, that's not ethical," and I was just like, "That makes sense." But I had no idea. Like a lot of times, artists don't even know what they're asking for when they ask for shit. You know?
Yeah, and I think a lot of times that kind of like is one of the points of contention that people don't necessarily understand. And it's weird that it's either like nobody takes the time to explain to people like the process of how everything works, or people don't care, or like, because it's not a big secret, but the information is not out there like you would think. You would think everybody would know how to, right. You would think people knew how the process works, but they don't. So that's why I wanted to get involved with the Grammys, so I could try to help. You know, instead of complaining, like you can either get in the game and try to change things, or you can complain on the sidelines. So
yes, absolutely. Well, I wanted to give you your flowers.
Oh,
because I think that there is a disconnect, and always has been, with age in hip hop. And we've always talked about how like rock critics, rock artists, they get their flowers way before, you know, it's like one of those things where maybe they pass or something like that. Our genre of hip hop is like so competitive. And I think it's so like, get out of here, old man. Like this is a young man's game. And like, that's just not what an actual genre that is going to be globally inspirational for everyone. This is not how it works. There has to be eras, there has to be flowers given, and there has to be like you just said, like a sharing of information. So like this genre can continue to grow. So I wanted to thank you for just loving Chicago hip hop as much as you have, to document Chicago's like rise to, you know, we were all in the era where Chicago just wasn't getting its props. We weren't getting our props as like a powerhouse of hip hop. And I think you were instrumental in solidifying that in a national eye, because we always knew. But
I appreciate
on a global
that.
way, a lot of artists did the work, but I think you were able to like capture like the blog era and like help Chicago become the powerhouse that it is. So I just want to thank you personally for that.
You know what? I really appreciate that, because as you know, the music business, especially hip hop, can be thankless. You know, can be a thankless job at times, and but it's good. You know, it's exciting to me to still be around and have these type of conversations like with somebody like you. You know what I mean? That, like, to me, that's super important. Like you said, the sharing of information. At the time when I started Fake Short Drive, it was so crazy to me that Chicago could be this huge city, third largest city in the United States,
Right.
and nobody was covering it unless it was like there was like 4 artists that were getting like major coverage.
Twista, Kales, Ye, and
yeah, I mean, not even counting Kales. Like I'm just talking more so hip hop. I guess it's like Common,
sure.
Kanye,
Common,
Lupe,
yeah.
and Twista. That like around when I started Fake Short Drive, that was really it. I would go to like a Cool Kid show and they'd be playing like a little bar and they'd have a line down the street to go see them. And then these other major rappers would come in to town for a show at like the House of Blues and there'd be like half the 25% full or whatever.
It's insane. Like when I think about it, there's so many artists in like their respective cities that like can't sell out a show.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But they have this image that they can.
You can only sell out locally for so long before people start going, man, why can't they go somewhere else and do this? Why can't they, you know, so it's like, it's such a tough, everything is such a tough, nothing is guaranteed. There's no like clear path to like success now. Everything's different. Like even 10 years ago, you could have said, okay, if you do this, this, and this is how like your path to success. Now it's like, who knows? Like with technology and these challenges and TikTok and like streaming, it's like, no, who knows? There's no like tried and true way to break in the industry anymore. It's like, you got to just basically pray to go viral. So people that can actually like sell tickets and still put butts in seats, like that's so important.
Yeah, it is. It was funny. Someone just asked me the other day about Bandcamp. And they're like, I've seen your success on Bandcamp. How would you like give me like advice? And I was like, well, like the way I did it, I didn't know I was like creating like a platform on this other website where, you know, 10 years down the line, they become an alternative to streaming, right? Mm-hmm. But I gave my music away for 10 years.
Yeah.
Like literally from 2010 to 2019 on Bandcamp, it was pay what you want. So basically it was free.
Right. And because people probably didn't pay much, or they might give a few bucks here and there.
Bucks here and there, and then I'd have like the super supporters who would pay $100 for it. You know, like I'm gonna overpay because I know, you know, you're not getting paid. You know what I'm saying? So, but then it was like 2019. I had like a little, you know, switch in my brain, and I put a paywall up, but it worked. Now, could I tell anyone to just do that? Like, no, I'm not going to say, hey, give your music away for 10 years. And then on the 10th year, charge, and then it'll all work out for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's terrible advice.
Yeah. And what works for one artist doesn't work for everybody else. I think one thing that is difficult to think about is like being a part of the blog era, being around since like 06, 07, and seeing how how these new artists are reaping the benefits from streaming, when that whole time when I had started Fake Short in like 07 through 2014 or so, everybody had to give their music away for free at that time.
Everybody.
And
physicals too. Like a lot of artists who were doing good, they pressed it up and gave it away, you know?
Right. It was like a loss leader for like the music. Now people can make money on streaming, and it's like, that was not an option 6-7 years ago. So it's like, especially us, I feel like we had to like, you know, climb a different path or go a different way than most people. So, you know, I think we can withstand a lot more.
I really appreciate your Twitter and that switch from knowing that the blog still exists, but it doesn't serve the same purpose as it did in like 07, 08.
Right. And that's for a number of different reasons, like why, you know, the blog landscape actually changed, you know, as I got older. It's and is like the playing field has opened up. So there's a lot more bloggers, there's a lot more writers, there's a lot more white people coming in. And it's like, why I wanted to do Fake Short Drive was to not be a gatekeeper. It was to knock those gates down and say, look, I want to put on for people that are doing cool stuff locally, people I'm a fan of their music, right or wrong, whatever. Different types of hip hop, from the grimiest to positive stuff, whatever. I want to cover it all.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of people doing it, only a few people doing it at the time. But as the internet became more accessible, then other blogs started coming around, and it just, I don't know, it just made me feel a certain way. It's like, I don't want to be seen as, you know, a gatekeeper, especially like a white guy gatekeeper. Like we were not trying to gatekeep, we were trying to break the gates down. But then eventually it becomes that because people want to get on the site, and then you got to
switches. Yeah.
Like I'm always going to keep that at my core, and that'll always be the vessel, always trying to put on for Chicago and Chicago hip hop and covering it. But also, like, I have this wealth of information that I feel like I need to share. And especially like just seeing this year with, and I'm sure we'll talk about this later, all the people that we've lost in the past year, in the past few months, and legends that are, you know, it's the genre is just getting older, and we're losing a lot of our heroes. Mm-hmm. It's like, if nobody is passing along this information, it's just gonna die out.
Yeah.
And I noticed, like, a lot of times education, people think it's corny, right? So like, if I was doing a panel and I said, all right, we're going to talk about publishing and masters and ownership of music and all these like educational things, it wouldn't be a lot of people there. Yeah. But if I said, okay, I'm going to do a panel, I'm going to talk about a bunch of bullshit and this and that, it would be packed, right? So it's like, you have to do education, but not make it educational. So it's like you're putting the candy in the medicine, or the medicine in the
full of sugar. Yeah.
People, like, from big, huge stars to younger fans would hit me on DM like, dude, I love your Twitter. I love what you're doing. I love to learn about this stuff. I think it's really cool. So I just kind of kept doing that.
Yeah. Random facts.
Just random stuff, and like stuff that I liked, you know, from a taste perspective, that I wasn't necessarily sharing because I was so focused on doing the Chicago and then Midwest thing.
Just to piggyback off the gatekeeper thing, it's wild because you can have that, you as in the universal you can have that that desire, right, to like be all encompassing, to be like open for like different genres in terms of you with the Chicago hip hop thing. I remember when Fake Short Drive started, when I became first aware of it, you posted something and I was like, oh, damn, this is cool, because I had only been on a couple blogs at that point. Yeah. But then it got like years down, like a couple years later, where like the blog was growing. And then the Chief Keef thing happened, where for anyone not knowing, like Fake Short Drive was very instrumental in that. The server crashed, basically.
Yeah, right. When he put out the I Don't Like remix with Kanye.
Yes, and the server crashed.
And then Chance Acid Rap. Those were the two times the site just went completely offline.
But that, from a global perspective, right? From an internet perspective, like crashing a server because we put out a tape was like, that's like, you know what I'm saying? That's like the new viral, you know what I'm saying? So
that was the new going platinum in the first week type of thing.
Yeah,
it was like Doggy Style selling 800,000 copies in the first week or whatever. Like, it was such a new thing, and it was like, okay, after, you know, that was 5-6 years in to Fake Short to get there to where people were like, okay, this is this is the global hub where we have to go. And then after that, like, it exploded, and it was still popular, but like then everyone else in the world was covering it.
It was something else. Because I remember, I'm old enough to remember when people were like, if they didn't get posted on a blog, it wasn't like the biggest deal. But I remember seeing that switch where, like, if you didn't post them, it's a problem now.
I was getting death threats. For real, like, I had people threatening they're like, yo, when we find you, we're going to beat you up and put you on World Star. We're going to find out where your parents live. We're going to find out where you, like, I was getting for real threats. Like, people really wanted to kill me about some posts. And that also, I kept pushing through that, but like, that was definitely not a fun part of doing this job. As you can see, like, I'm really, at the end of the day, like, I'm just a fan. Like, I'm not on some maniacal, egotistical shit. Like, I'm really just a rap nerd and a fan of the culture. And like, you know, that was another thing about blogging that I didn't like. I didn't like people to be mad at me over that. And for me to judge you and say, your art is bad. But maybe it just wasn't maybe I just personally didn't like it.
But how could you post everything? You know, you get thousands of submissions, you know what I'm saying? Like, there are times where, like, I was like, Andrew's gonna post this and you didn't, I wasn't like mad. And there are times where where you would post some shit where I didn't even ask you to.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like, oh, this is random. You know what I mean? This is what he wants to post. This is what he can post. And this is what he may like. I'm sure you posted things that you maybe didn't like love, but you knew that it needed the posting or whatever.
Right.
So
right.
It's
eventually it becomes, all right, it's not just about, it had gotten so big, it's like, all right, so it's not just about me anymore. What are the readers and the fans, what are they going to like? Because I may not personally like it, but are they going to like it? And it, you know, at any given, there was nobody else really doing it besides me and Ty Howard.
Yeah. Shout out to Ty.
That was really, it wasn't like there was a big staff. There wasn't like a big operation or anything. It was 1 to 2 people with people doing features every now and again. That was really it. You know, I was working a full-time job too. On like, I was going to work during the day and trying to run the blog from a day job, from a desk job.
Oh, wow.
Like, you know, it's like, and then it's like, who knows what you had going on that day, why you missed that email or what happened. And
sure,
you know, it never was intended to offend anybody, but you know, it always ends up happening.
So now though, the Twitter's popping.
Yeah.
The blog is what it is, and now you're working in radio.
We've had the show on Shade 45, the drive on Shade 45. We've had that since like 2015, and I brought that to Ron Mills who's at the PD at Shade 45 some years ago, because I noticed that they had all these different shows. They had like a Southern rap show, and they had like K-Slay. They had Drama and doing
like 5 East Coast shows.
They got a bunch of, they got a K-Slay. K-Slay's got like 10 hours a week on there. And I'm like, look, we need, even if it's just for an hour or two, we need a Midwest show. This is Eminem is from Detroit.
Right.
Like, we need a Midwest show, like to highlight what's going on here with some DJs. So my idea was, okay, we're going to do 2 hours. First hour, we'll curate, me and Ty. Ty will DJ it and we'll put it together and all that. And then for the second hour, we'll have a different DJ from around the Midwest come on and guest DJ that second hour and play what's hot in their local markets that may not be getting radio play, like on a national scale. So that was the idea for the show. And we just re-signed for another year. So I'm happy that it's lasted this long.
Me too, man. Like, I really appreciate the work that you do, and just seeing that, as we get older and as we are, expanding to different areas just from our rap. Like, I'm a rapper, obviously, but I've always been a rap nerd. You know what I'm saying? Right. So like, that has given me the opportunity to just do other things, whether it's education. Like, I ran an after school program for years, teaching kids how to rap. And then being able to like help Angel facilitate like just getting a better foundation for her career. So that was almost like an executive producer type of thing, but I would never call myself that. I would never call myself a manager, because I feel like active rappers as managers, like, ooh, that's I'm not gonna claim that shit.
You're doing it, but you don't want to put the title on it. I get it.
No, absolutely not. But then now, like, I wrote a book and it's coming out in August.
Wow, congrats.
Thanks, man.
Tell me about the book. Let's talk about the book. I want to hear about it.
It's really just about my come up, and it has a thread of my relationships through it. So it kind of like tries to kind of set the tone about kind of why I made some of the decisions I made, and also like how I've come out on the other end. So like, I'm not even on front. Like, I'm still like, we're still doing like the final edits.
Yeah.
Because like, there's so much that happened in 2020 because I finished the book in 2019 and then the pandemic happened. And so it's like, we have to go back and add like what happened last year. So, but the book is literally just about my come up, being a woman in hip hop, and like how I have navigated my relationships through that.
Yeah, right. I can't wait to read it. I know it's going to be good. It's going to be juicy. There's going to be some good stuff. So.
Yeah, so it's not going to be like Superhead. It's not going to be like Superhead type.
No. Of course not.
Pretty juicy.
But there'll be some good, like, just industry stories and like your perspective on things. And I always appreciate your perspective, and like, you're not scared to speak your mind on anything.
Yes, I appreciate it. Definitely send you a copy.
But I also think we need to do a good job of like showing love to the people that really paved the way for in Chicago, like that laid the groundwork for me, you, whoever,
Yeah, sure.
To you know, they walked so we could run, and now like we ran so these people behind us now can fly and make all this. They can do all this stuff now. Like they can
look at some of the
turn it
stuff
into
like
stuff.
Chance does, and it's just like, holy fucking shit! Like, how could you be mad at that? Like, they're supposed to be completely like just gone. You know what I mean?
And people are like, people are like, oh, how do you feel? Are you feel some type of way or now? Like, look, those people in the 90s, they really paved the way for me to do what I do. Like the old magazines like Fly Paper and people that used to do stuff like that. Like, they didn't have the access to the internet, right? And a lot of these artists, Do or Die, Crucial Conflict,
Syndicate.
I mean, think about Infamous Syndicate. Like, how dope were they? They didn't have the access to the stuff that we have access to, and we didn't have access to the stuff that people do now. So I think there needs to be a better understanding of that. And it's like, oh, well, this person didn't. Oh, they were only relevant for like 2 years, but you don't really know what happened. Like, you don't know how hard it was back then. You couldn't just upload your music online. You couldn't make a viral. I mean, you couldn't do. You didn't have the world, you didn't have a supercomputer in your pocket that you could just do anything from. Like, you had to get professional photo shoots. You had to, with that actual camera with film that had to get developed.
Oh my God.
You had to go to a studio and have an engineer. Some people were.
And a dad.
Right. I mean, think how difficult that was. Like, you couldn't just upload something, record something and put it out in a week. Like, you had to manufacture it and put it on a truck and ship it places.
Insanity.
I think there just needs to be more compassion for those people overall. And like, you don't know what kind of deals they were in, what kind of bad contracts or production.
I was going to say that too, the bad deal. Like, the late 90s Chicago deal, like, there's nothing but horror stories.
There just needs to be more compassion and respect for people like that had local labels, you know, back then. Like a guy like Traxter, like had a producer for all these people and, you know, did all this, you know, produced all these amazing records and was trying to put people on and was, you know, ECLA. People were doing stuff out of Chicago that was really
huge.
cool.
Yeah. Mo Man, that comes to mind.
Yeah. I mean, you can't forget like the Mo Man, like, so I would like those stories to be, you know, told more and people to kind of respect that. Souls of Mischief, 93 to Infinity, same type of thing. So like, we can't judge everything based on sales.
Yeah. Yeah. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous because you'll have something regionally that'll pop so hard, but it's a moment, it's a thing, but you know, you might go to the other side of the country and they never heard of it.
I personally made a decision, especially this year, to start giving people more of their flowers. Mm-hmm. So like using my Twitter as an avenue to give flowers in respect to people that may not really get it in the grand scheme. And then other people see it and go, oh, you know what? We did kind of sleep on this. Like this was something we should have really supported this more, or this is really cool. Let me go back and check it out.
Well, shit. This has been very informative. Is there anything that you would want the Big Silky audience to know or possibly keep in mind because that's what this show does. We seek to inform. Also, we have a lot of fun, but we treat rap with respect, you know, and right. even though like you said, like giving people their flowers, I don't want to necessarily, like, I've had my issues with labels and things like that, but I always give credit where it's due and I always give people their props. So I appreciate that. And I'm gonna shut up and let you say any last words.
No, I mean, I'm happy to, I'm glad we've been talking about doing something for so long, and I actually think this might be the best platform for us to have this type of conversation. And I'm down to come back on anytime and chat with you. Hey. I appreciate the work you do. I've been a fan for a long time. Keep doing the good work that you do, and keep the show moving. And, you know, let's keep having these dope conversations online and helping spread the good gospel and educate everybody on, you know, what we've seen and how they can improve on it going forward.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, thank you so much. I'll go look for Valet.
If you find him, let me know, because I am looking for him.
Okay. Will do. All right. You have a nice day.
You too. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Of course. Thanks for coming on, and I'll see you online.
All right. All right. Peace.
Peace.